There are chapters in life where it feels like people are just falling away. Not always in some dramatic explosion. Sometimes it's as simple and brutal as silence. The text that never gets answered, the call that never comes, the friend who slowly stops trying, the person you thought was permanent who suddenly feels blurry, far, unreachable. Other times, it's loud. A breakup that cracks you open, a betrayal you never saw coming, a family rift you don't know how to close, a friendship that ends in words you can't unhear. You look around and realize the people you built your life around, the ones you once believed would be there forever, aren't standing where they used to stand. And the first instinct is almost always the same. What's wrong with me? Why am I so hard to love? Why does everyone leave? Why do I keep losing people just when I start to feel safe? Carl Jung would sit with that pain, not rush it, but he'd also gently turn your face toward a different possibility. What if life removing certain people wasn't a random cruelty, but a deep, unconscious reorganization preparing you for your next level of growth? Before we go into that, pause with me for a moment. If you've walked through a season of loss lately, losing friends, lovers, connections, even old versions of yourself, and some part of you is still trying to make sense of it, type the word "next" in the comments. Just that one word. You don't have to retell your heartbreak. You don't have to defend how much it hurt. You're simply telling your own soul, I'm open to the idea that this isn't just punishment. Maybe there's a pattern here. And if you keep finding videos like this right when you need language for what you're quietly carrying, it truly helps when you like this video and subscribe to the channel, so these reflections stay close on the days you're tempted to blame yourself for every loss. At the end of this video, there'll be a playlist on the end screen. If you feel this message sinking in, save it. When you're about to sleep tonight, press play and let it run softly in the background. Your body will rest, but your subconscious will keep listening, keep releasing, keep rearranging your inner world around a gentler truth that not every exit was a rejection, some were a redirection. Now let's look at why life sometimes has to clear people out when your soul is getting ready to level up. Jung believed the psyche has a built-in drive toward individuation, toward becoming who you truly are, not just who you were trained to be. For a long time you play roles, the good one, the strong one, the funny one, the forgiving one, the one who always comes back, the one who never needs anything. You attract relationships based on those roles. People connect not always with your deepest self, but with the version of you that's most convenient for them. The friend who loves that you always listen but never asks how you are. The partner who loves your softness but resists your boundaries. The family member who loves your loyalty but relies on your silence. As long as you're willing to squeeze your real self into those roles, those relationships work, at least on the surface. But your deeper self, the center Jung talked about, the part of you that knows your true worth and your true path, will only tolerate that for so long. When you start to grow, your energy changes. You start saying no when you used to say yes. You start asking for reciprocity where you used to settle for crumbs. You start wanting honesty instead of polite pretending. You start craving peace over chaos, authenticity over approval, and suddenly people who were comfortable with the old you start to feel uncomfortable. They might not say it outright. Sometimes they just pull away. Stop sharing like they used to. Stop inviting you. Stop showing up when you need them. You feel the distance. You feel that something has shifted. But here's the key from Jung's perspective. Not everyone is meant to access every version of you. Some people were only ever aligned with your wounded self, the you who didn't think you deserved more, the you who tolerated being chosen last, the you who thought boundaries were mean, the you who overgave to feel valuable. When that self starts to heal, those contracts quietly expire. Life removing those people isn't always cruelty. It's often realism. Your soul is saying, if I'm going to step into my next level of honesty, healing, purpose, and self-respect, I cannot stay entangled in dynamics that depend on me staying small. So sometimes, instead of you leaving them, life lets them leave you. Not because you weren't enough, but because you were becoming too much for the version of them that needed you weak. From a Jungian view, relationships are not just social, they're psychic. You don't just exchange messages, you exchange energy, stories, and roles. Think of certain people in your life. Around them you shrink or expand. You feel calmer or more anxious. You become wiser or more chaotic. Some connections invite out the best in you, your courage, your creativity, your honesty. Others keep calling out the same wounded patterns, your abandonment fear, your urge to fix, your fear of conflict, your compulsion to earn love. Jung believed that when you're on the edge of a new stage in life, your unconscious starts to rearrange these patterns. If your next level requires you to be more rooted, less easily manipulated, more aligned with your values, then relationships that thrive on your confusion, self-doubt, and self-abandonment will begin to feel wrong. That wrongness might show up as constant tension in your body when you talk to them, dreading seeing their name pop up on your phone, feeling drained after every conversation, feeling like you can't say what you really think. You might resist that awareness. You remind yourself of the history, the memories, the good times. You say, it's not that bad, or no relationship is perfect. But the body doesn't lie. The unconscious doesn't lie. The more you grow, the louder that inner signal gets. This connection doesn't support where I'm going. Sometimes you act on that and create distance. Sometimes you don't, and life steps in. Circumstances change. They move. You move. They choose someone else. They stop trying. Something breaks that you can't patch the old way. On the surface, it looks like abandonment or bad luck. Inside, something else is happening. Your psyche is rearranging your field so that what no longer supports your becoming quietly exits the stage. It hurts. It's confusing. You wonder why God, the universe, life, fate, whatever language you use, would take away what meant so much to you. Jung would ask a difficult but liberating question. Did they love you, or did they love the role you played in their story? If the only version of you they could stay close to was the version who didn't grow, didn't change, didn't rise, then their exit, as painful as it is also a kind of protection. If this is already stirring something inside you, if faces and moments are coming to mind, if part of you knows this is what happened but you've been too scared to say it, take a second and like this video, and make sure you're subscribed if you want more of these Jungian reflections holding you while you heal. Sometimes, the mind needs a new story to soften its grip on old pain. Now, Jung also talked about synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that feel like life is sending you a message. When people start leaving your life around the same time you start awakening to your worth, that itself is a kind of synchronicity. You begin therapy, and suddenly you see certain friendships differently. You start setting boundaries and certain people disappear. You stop chasing, and some never come back. It can feel cruel, but it's also deeply ordered. Imagine if every person stayed, no matter how much you grew. There'd be no space, no room for new connections that align with your healed self, no energy for relationships that respect your boundaries and your depth. Jung used to say that what we call fate often mirrors our inner process. So when life removes people, especially in clusters, especially in seasons where you're questioning everything, it's often reflecting this inner truth. You're not that version of you anymore. And not everyone can or will walk with the person you're becoming. That doesn't mean they're evil. It doesn't mean you're superior. It means the contract between your story and theirs was for a certain chapter. Their role may have been to trigger your deepest wounds so you could finally see them, to mirror what you believed you deserved so you could eventually reject that script, to show you how much of yourself you were willing to give away for a taste of being chosen. Painful roles, necessary roles, but not lifelong roles. Your next level cannot be built on the same agreements that almost destroyed you. So life, in its strange, ruthless wisdom, clears the stage. Of course, from the human side, this doesn't feel wise. It feels like heartbreak, abandonment, and failure. You replay what you said. You look for where you went wrong. You think, if I had just been more patient, more chill, less intense, more submissive, less needy, maybe they'd still be here. But be honest with yourself. Would you really want a life where your only way to keep certain people was to keep betraying yourself? To never speak up when you're hurt? To keep ignoring your intuition? To keep shrinking so they don't feel insecure? To keep pretending you don't see the things you definitely see? When life removes people as you approach your next level, it is often taking this choice out of your hands, because your conscious mind might cling to the familiar forever. But your deeper self is pulling you towards something else. Connections where your too much is actually a match. Spaces where your emotional intelligence is welcome, not mocked. Relationships where your boundaries are met with respect, not punishment. Love that doesn't require you to disappear to keep it. Those things cannot land fully while your heart, mind, and nervous system are still entangled in old patterns. So some exits happen before their replacements arrive. That's why the in-between feels so brutal. You stand in the space between who you were and who you're becoming, between the people you lost and the ones who haven't found you yet. You feel empty, unanchored. You think, what if this is it? What if the ones I lost were the best it will ever get? Jung would remind you. The psyche goes through a death and rebirth cycle. The death comes first. The death of illusions. The death of fantasies about how certain people would show up. The death of roles that were slowly killing your spirit. Then the void, the nothingness, that awful free fall where you don't know what's next. And then, quietly, slowly, rebirth. The new people aligned with your new boundaries. The new rhythm of life that actually fits your nervous system. The new self-respect that changes how you show up in every interaction. But you can't skip the middle. You can't keep everyone, keep every pattern, and still step into a truly new level. Something has to go. Often that something is certain relationships. Not because you were unlovable, but because your next level needed you whole. If part of you is feeling this deeply, if you're grieving exits that still don't fully make sense, but something inside you is whispering, I needed that separation to see myself clearly. Take a moment to tell your own heart. It's okay to miss people who weren't meant to stay. Missing them doesn't mean you were wrong to grow. Grieving them doesn't mean they were supposed to be in your future. It just means you're human. Now let's flip the lens. Think of the people who did stay, the friend who met your new boundaries with curiosity instead of defensiveness. The person who saw you changing and said, I'm proud of you, not, you've changed and I don't like it. The one who sat with your honesty without punishing you. Those are clues. Jung would say that as you evolve, the ones who genuinely resonate with your true self will adjust their orbit. They don't need you weak to feel strong. They don't need you voiceless to feel heard. They don't need you small to feel big. Your next level isn't just about your career, your goals, your spirituality. It's about your relational field. Who's around you when you're tired, not performing, not being impressive? Who still chooses you when you're not convenient? Those are your next level people. They can't be bought with self-betrayal. They're drawn to your truth. And yes, you might have fewer of them than you had casual connections in the last chapter, but Jung would argue depth has more value than volume. Better 3 people who know your soul than 30 who only know the version you edited for their comfort. If you've listened this far, I want to speak directly to you. You, the one replaying who left and wondering why you weren't enough to make them stay. You, the one who keeps blaming yourself for growing. You, the one standing in that empty middle space, no longer attached to what was, not yet rooted in what will be. Carl Jung would not tell you to bypass the pain. He would not say, "Don't feel sad, it's all for your next level." He'd honor that your heart broke, that you gave real love, that you tried your best with what you knew at the time. And then he'd invite you to see a second layer. Life often moves people out when your soul is preparing to move you up. You're not just losing people, you're losing patterns. The pattern of begging for the bare minimum, the pattern of mistaking inconsistency for chemistry, the pattern of romanticizing crumbs because you've never experienced a feast, the pattern of calling it loyalty when it was really self-abandonment. Those patterns are not compatible with your next level, the next level where you respect your own time and energy, the next level where you listen to your intuition the first time it whispers, the next level where you don't stay just because you're afraid to be alone, the next level where love feels like safety, not a constant survival test. To get there, you had to see who couldn't walk with you if you changed, and life, in its fierce mercy, showed you. If some part of you, even through the grief, is whispering, "I don't want these losses to be wasted. If life removed them, I want to honor the message," then type "next" in the comments if you haven't already. Not because everything suddenly feels okay, but as your way of saying, "I am willing to believe that these endings might be preparing me for something more aligned." If this message has held you at all today, it truly supports this work when you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss future reflections that speak directly to the parts of you that most people don't see. And remember, you don't have to figure all of this out before you sleep tonight. When the lights are off and the room is quiet, that's usually when the ghosts of old relationships come back the loudest. Faces, conversations, memories, what-ifs, and maybe if I had. Instead of letting those old stories tuck you into bed, give your subconscious something kinder to drift into. At the end of this video, there's a playlist waiting on the end screen. Hit play on that playlist when you're about to fall asleep. Let it run softly as you drift off. Your body will rest, but your subconscious will keep listening, keep loosening its grip on the belief that every loss means you weren't enough. Keep opening to the possibility that life might have been protecting you, preparing you, making room for connections that match the person you're becoming, not the person you had to be just to be tolerated. Save the playlist, fall asleep with it, and let these messages sink slowly from your mind into your soul, until one day you look around and realize your circle may be smaller, but it's more honest. Your heart may have scars, but it also has standards, and you'll see, maybe with a soft, knowing ache, when life removed certain people, it wasn't just ending your story. It was turning the page to your next level.